Hi folks, how are we doing? Welcome to another video. Today's video is going to be making a panel. It's not actually for a car that I've got here. It's basically a demonstration for somebody that I've met on Facebook. So basically what happened was sort of last week sometime I was scrolling through this page and this chap had asked for some advice on how to make, I can't remember what the car was, but it's basically the bottom lip of the windscreen aperture and then part of the scuttle panel. Now, a lot of the advice that was given, which I thought was actually fucking shocking, was like make it in like loads of little sections. So like make the actual lip and then weld another piece onto the corner and then another piece onto the corner. That is just so fucking wrong. I have no idea why anybody would do that. You know, you try and weld on a corner like that, you end up with like a round edge and then you'll end up with holes. Plus, not only that, is MIG welding is brittle, it will fracture, and if you've got like a windscreen aperture which is potentially structural, you really don't want to be doing that. So I said that I should be able to make that, or it should be easily enough done as a single piece. So then he's asked me sort of to do a video and sort of show how it's done basically. To give you an idea of what needs making, here's a quick video of what he actually sent me, so you know what we're actually sort of aiming for.
Alright, so this is the piece that basically has to be remade for the sides. I cut this out of another car, but it was just too rusty to use, but it gives me a template. Not sure how to make this out of one piece, but what I originally was thinking, obviously cut out the rot, have this piece in, this is the other patch for over there, but, and then just make a second piece, have it welded in, I have a second piece that would go down further. That's kind of what I was thinking, but didn't know if I'd have water penetration too much if I don't weld it solid all the way through here. But that is also where the windshield sits, so I don't know.
So looking at it, it's not a massively complicated panel. You know, there's a couple of folds, a bit of bending, bit of curvature to it in two ways. But other than that, it's quite a basic panel. It's just a matter of working out. You know, all the lips are uniform, all of the dimensions are uniform. So it should be quite easy to do with basic hand tools. You know, I won't even need to use this really. Obviously, I haven't got the car here, so I can't sort of get the proper dimensions. But you know, we can sort of have a good old sort of guess and get somewhere close. It's more about the technique rather than the actual finished panel. So let's get some bits and we'll get set up. Normally for this sort of thing, you'd make, well, I would make two templates. I'd make a paper template and then a cardboard template. Obviously I haven't got the car here to make a template, so I've had to sort of wing it a little bit. You'd make the paper template for the actual piece of metal that you want to lay out, and then you'd make a cardboard template to make a buck. You'd use the cardboard for where you want to sort of get the shape in and stuff like that. So I have made a cardboard template and then I've made the buck, and then just to get the overall shape, I've just winged it really. I've sort of placed that on there, sort of scribed it out, and then I just used a pair of calipers just to get some dimensions in. I roughly worked out that I mean an average windscreen lip is about 15 to 20 mil. So I've worked that out, and then looking at the panel in the video, it looked like it was two even pieces. So I've just done this at 35 mil. Obviously you want to add a little bit extra for the bending of the metal. Always run a couple of test pieces to see how it bends and whatever you want to do. And then the other side, I've just guessed it again. It looked like it was about 5 mil, and then I'm going to do it the same, sort of 15 mil lip. I know it was a bit shorter, but it saves me. Well, I'll explain why I'm doing it this way when we get to that. So basically, I don't know whether it's going to come up on camera, but I'll move the camera instead of fucking about. Right, So I think you can just about see the scribe lines there where I sort of scribed it out. There is 2 lines. That's pretty much because where I just use this is running on that edge rather than sort of down in there properly. Like I said, it doesn't matter for what I'm doing. If you're doing this properly for yourself, obviously make sure you get your measurements and dimensions spot on. But this is more about the technique of how we're shaping the panel rather than my dimensions. So I've got my buck set up. Obviously the panel is going to extend both sides, so all I've done is just put 2 screws in. They're not going to clamp it down, it's just for locating because you're never going to be able to line it up. So all I'm going to do is stick it in there, get it all lined up on the, or actually get it screwed down just a smidge so we can get it in the screw holes. Just like that. Let's get the screw a bit. Right, so now just line it up on the scribe lines. Just screw it down. Right, so now we need to clamp it. For this, I'm actually going to clamp it on top of a bit of box section because, I don't know whether that's going to come up, because the lippy will extend the side of this, I don't want it crashing into the bench. So if I put a bit of box section on there, should raise it up, clamp it all down, and then, in theory, could be eating my words, re-editing this, I don't know. Just making shit up as I go along, as I always do. Right, so, like I said, bit of box section. It's quite long, I have clamped it all the way down there, and then it's actually worked out right. It's just sort of sleeved in between the 2 pieces here. Obviously you've got to just use what you've got, you know, it's, excuse me, it's one of them jobs where you just got to find shit lying around and then just make it work. So yeah, it's all clamped down. Nice and solid, so yeah, just want to sort of start hitting this down. I'm actually going to use my dead blow hammer because I just find it moves steel real nice, real quickly, but obviously a decent panel beating hammer will work, or a rubber mallet or something. The key is do not go too far. You just want to sort of light taps very slowly, let it sort of shrink and stretch, you know, at its own pace. If you try and do like start from one edge, you will end up sort of rippling it and it'll be all over the place. So as you can see, I'm hitting down, not at an angle. Right, that's one lip done. So just unclamp it, spin it around. Exactly the same again. This side should go easier for 2 reasons. One, it's an outside curve, so it's stretching rather than shrinking, plus it's actually a thinner edge, so exactly the same. lied, this one was going wavy. There we go. We can work on it. Alright, we'll get this unclamped and then we'll go on to the next step. So I've removed it from the butt. As you can see, well, hopefully you can see, this side's a little bit wavy, that side's come out alright. I don't quite know why it's gone wavy, it has, we can deal with it afterwards, not a problem at all. Now what I'm going to do is actually put the curve in this way. There are two ways of doing it. One is using a shrinker stretcher, which I'm going to use purely and simply because I know this bloke's got one. But there is another way afterwards, which I'll go through later. But for now, I'm just going to take it over to the shrinker stretcher and then get that curve. Well, yeah, just shrink it down and then get that nice little radius in. So there's not really a lot to it. It just is sort of delicately go through it. Yeah, just start at one end. Light passes. I know it doesn't need a lot of curvature, I just want a little bit on it. A bit more, just for demonstration purposes. Yeah, that's far enough. So I'll get that framed up. So yeah, got the curve in that side. Now we've just got to do exactly the same on this one. And then get it to be even. That's good enough for what I need to do, I think. So yeah, it's all curved both sides. Hopefully you can see that. I can't really see framing properly. So yeah, let's get it over back over to the bench and I'll show you how to finish this off. To finish this off, it is actually very simple. It's a technique I've demonstrated before, and it's just using this. This is actually an old tile cutter handle. but any bit of bar would do. And I've literally just cut a slot in it at the right depth of what I want the flange or the lip. So then all I need to do is, probably should be wearing gloves for this but this is the bit that takes time and it hurts, but just give it a little tweak. That's probably too much, but yeah, just a little. Exactly the same as when sort of doing the other lips. You know, very gently, very slowly, let it do its thing. You want to make sure you're always pushing all the way in. There you go, it's one pass. Don't know whether that comes up on camera, you should be able to just see it sort of turning over. And then you just keep doing it until you get a lip. You see how that's starting to go over? Might be easier if it's clamped to a bench or something, but it's just a matter of doing it. And yes, it does hurt. Get a bit of fatigue going on. Yeah, there we go. So all I'm doing is using my thumb to push it along, just holding it down, wiggling it backwards and forwards. That's how little movement you want in this panel. And you'll slowly see it sort of just go across. As I say, this does hurt. It's all about patience. You can sort of see it going a little bit by a little bit. So yeah, I'll get that finished and I'll come back. There's no point you just sitting watching me fucking do that for like 20 minutes. So I'll get that fly finished and then it will be exactly the same on the other side. So it's one lip down, one more to go, and it's exactly the same. So just put it on and then just go through it. So you want to start off real slow. this side, because it's taller, what I'm having to do, as well as pushing out over on the top, I'm pulling at the bottom to get that line in as well. That first line, it just seemed to have strained it out a little bit. I don't know whether that sort of comes up. You can just sort of see the line where it's going through. Yeah, a bit of patience. Obviously, smaller lips are a lot easier. Getting somewhere now. Right. The reason I said to you that I'm doing 2 of the same lips is because I just didn't want to make 2 of these tools. Like I said, it's not for a Customz car. I don't want to go wasting material. But yeah, all you need to do is that sort of thing. I think about the limit is probably 15mm. You could probably, if you can clamp it down a bit more, you could probably go a little bit more, but I wouldn't recommend it. About 15mm, standard sort of windscreen aperture lip, sort of like wheel arch or whatever. Yeah, this is fine. There you go, see that one's going around nicely now. So yeah, I'll get that one finished. There we go, both lips are formed. Still got the curve in that way, still got the curve in that way. Yeah, happy days. Right, well that's it. Real easy to make. You know, you don't need to be making a bit here and a bit here and a bit here and then try and weld it all together and then try and clean it up, because you'll end up with distortion and all sorts of shit. I mean, this panel's by no means perfect, you know. Just could do with sort of hammer and dolly, just sort of tweaking it. Also, you know, I rushed it. You know, it's just for demonstration purposes. I did sort of mention earlier, if you haven't got a shrinker stretcher, how to sort of do the sides. What you'd do is leave it flat, then use the bar to turn this lip over. Then you've just got your 3 bits, and then use like a wheel rim or something, clamp it down, and then just carefully push it round. So imagine sort of that's the wheel like on the edge. If you sort of carefully sort of push it on this edge like first, and then this edge, you know, just sort of rolling it, not putting too much pressure, but just rolling it round, and eventually it will go. It's quite simple to do. Again, you know, if you wanted to put a small crown in here, sort of hammer and dolly now, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's as simple as it is to sort of make a panel like that. A bit of wood and then a bit of bar, obviously some hammers. So yeah, please stop fucking panel here and trying to weld it. It's shit, it's shocking, just don't do it. If somebody ever gives you that advice, fucking slap them, because there's no need for it. There are times when you have to do it, but for stuff like this, you know, it's just cleaner. I mean, that didn't take long at all. I've tried to do this video pretty much real time, other than that lip. But I mean, that took probably an hour and a half, you know, and that's including making the bucks, you know. Take that up to 2.5 hours, you've got a perfectly fitting panel. So, hope you like this video. Please check out my friends in the description box below. Please like, subscribe, check out my Teespring store, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye.